For 38 years, my uncle kept a secret at the back of his property. It wasn't gold, it wasn't guns. It was a living creature everyone thinks is a myth. We used to call him the quiet guest. The night the government finally knocked on his cabin door, I realized my uncle had been lying to all of us, and maybe protecting all of us too. My name is Daniel Chen, and what I'm about to tell you will sound impossible. But I was there. I saw everything. And after you hear this story, you'll understand why some secrets are kept not out of shame, but out of love. Let's begin. My Uncle Raymond was the kind of man who didn't fit anywhere. Not in the city where my family lived, not in polite society, not even really in his own family. After my grandfather passed in 1985, Uncle Ray inherited the old family property, 200 acres of dense forest in the Olympic Peninsula, accessible only by a logging road that hadn't been maintained in decades. Most of the family thought he was crazy for moving out there. A cabin with no electricity, no running water, no neighbors for 15 miles. But Uncle Ray said he needed the quiet, said the world was too loud, too fast, too crowded. Out there, he told me when I was 10, a man can finally hear himself think. I visited him every summer from the time I was 8 until I was 16. Those weeks at Uncle Ray's cabin were the best part of my childhood. We'd fish in the creek, hike the old trails, sit by the fire, and listen to the forest breathe. He taught me how to read animal tracks, how to move quietly through the woods, how to respect what you don't understand. But there were rules, strict rules. Never go to the back 40 acres after sunset. Never investigate strange sounds coming from the old barn. If I heard knocking, 3 deliberate knocks in a pattern, come inside immediately and don't ask questions. And most importantly, never ever tell anyone outside the family about anything unusual I might see or hear. I thought he was just being paranoid. Eccentric old mountain man stuff. I was wrong. The first time I saw evidence of the quiet guest, I was 12 years old. It was my 3rd summer visiting Uncle Ray. I woke up early one morning, maybe 5 a.m., and went outside to use the outhouse. The sun was just starting to break through the trees, that grey pre-dawn light where everything looked slightly unreal. That's when I saw the footprints. They were in the soft dirt near the water pump. Enormous, at least 18 inches long, maybe more, 5 clear toe impressions. The stride between them was longer than I was tall. I stood there staring at them, my brain trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Bear, I thought. Has to be a bear. Except bears don't walk upright for that long. And the prints were wrong. Too human-shaped, too deliberate. I heard the cabin door open behind me. "Daniel!" Uncle Ray's voice was calm but firm. "Come inside. Now." I followed him in. He poured me some coffee. I'd started drinking it that summer, and sat down across from me at the old wooden table. "You saw the prints?" It wasn't a question. "Yeah, what? What made those?" Uncle Ray looked at me for a long moment. Then he sighed, the kind of sigh that carries decades of weight. "I'm going to tell you something, Daniel. Something I've never told another living soul outside of one person. But first, you need to promise me, and I mean promise me on your grandfather's grave, that you will never repeat what I'm about to say. Not to your parents, not to your friends, not to anyone. Ever." My hands were shaking. I nodded. "There's someone living on this property," he said quietly. "Someone who was here before me. Someone who's been here longer than any of us. And he stays because I keep him safe, and he keeps me company. That's all you need to know for now." "Someone?" "Uncle Ray, those prints are huge. That's not a person." "Isn't he?" Uncle Ray's eyes were sharp. "What makes someone a person, Daniel? A birth certificate, a social security number, or is it something else? Intelligence, emotion, the ability to choose kindness over violence?" He stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the forest. "He's more of a person than most humans I've known. And he's under my protection. That's all that matters." I wanted to ask more, wanted to see this someone, but the look on Uncle Ray's face told me the conversation was over. It would be 4 more years before I met the quiet guest. The summer I turned 16 was different. I was older, taller, stronger. Uncle Ray started treating me less like a kid and more like a partner. He taught me how to maintain the cabin, how to chop wood properly, how to fix the old generator when it died. And one evening in late July, he finally said the words I'd been waiting to hear for 4 years. "Daniel, I think it's time you met him." My heart nearly stopped. "Really? You're old enough now. And I'm not getting any younger. If something happens to me, someone needs to know. Someone needs to be able to take care of him." "Take care of who exactly?" Uncle Ray smiled. "You'll see, but listen carefully. When we go out there, you move slow. You keep your hands visible. You don't make sudden movements. And most importantly, you show respect. He's not a pet. He's not an animal. He's my friend. Understand?" I nodded. We waited until full dark. Uncle Ray grabbed a canvas bag, loaded it with apples, smoked fish, and what looked like honey in old mason jars. Then we headed out the back of the cabin, following a trail I'd never been allowed on. The walk took about 20 minutes. We moved slowly, Uncle Ray occasionally making a low whistle. 3 notes, always the same pattern, like a signal. Eventually, we reached a clearing I'd never seen. In the center was an old barn, or what was left of one. 3 walls still standing, the roof mostly intact, surrounded by tall grass and wildflowers. Uncle Ray stopped at the edge of the clearing. "Wait here," he said. "Let me talk to him first." He walked forward, set the canvas bag down about 10 feet from the barn entrance, then backed away. He made that 3-note whistle again. For a long moment nothing happened. Then I heard movement inside the barn. Something big, something heavy shifting its weight. And then he stepped out. "I'm not going to try to convince you this was real. I'm just going to tell you what I saw." He was massive, 9, maybe 9.5 feet tall. Broad shoulders, arms that hung past his knees, covered head to toe in dark reddish-brown hair. His face was... his face. Almost human but not. Flatter, broader, intelligent eyes that caught the moonlight. A mouth that could have belonged to either a man or an ape. He looked at the canvas bag, then at Uncle Ray, then directly at me. I stopped breathing. Uncle Ray spoke quietly. "That's my nephew, Daniel. He's family. He's safe." The creature, I couldn't think of him as human, not yet, studied me for what felt like an eternity. Then he made a sound, low, rumbling, not aggressive, more like acknowledgement. He walked forward, picked up the canvas bag with surprising gentleness, and made that sound again, almost like a purr. "You're welcome, old friend," Uncle Ray said. The creature looked at me one more time, tilted his head slightly, then turned and went back into the barn. I stood there shaking. "Come on," Uncle Ray said. "Let's get back to the cabin. We've got a lot to talk about." That night, Uncle Ray told me everything. His name, or the name Uncle Ray had given him, was Porter, named after the old Porter family that had owned this land 100 years ago. Uncle Ray had found him in the winter of 1985, just a few months after moving to the property. He'd been out checking his traps when he heard something whimpering near the creek, followed the sound, and found Porter lying in the snow, his leg badly broken, near death from exposure and starvation. "He looked at me," Uncle Ray said, "and I saw intelligence in those eyes. Not animal intelligence, human intelligence, maybe even more than human. He was asking for help, actually asking." Uncle Ray couldn't leave him. He fashioned a splint, got him back to the old barn, kept him warm and fed through the worst winter the peninsula had seen in decades. Porter healed, but he didn't leave. "I think he'd been alone for a long time," Uncle Ray explained. "Maybe the last of his kind in this area, maybe exiled from his group. I don't know, but he stayed, and I let him. Over time we became friends, companions. He helps me with heavy work sometimes, moving logs, clearing brush. I keep him fed, keep him safe, keep him hidden." "Why hidden?" I asked. Uncle Ray's face darkened. "Because the moment anyone finds out he exists, everything changes. Scientists would want to study him. The government would want to contain him. Hunters would want to mount his head on a wall. Media would turn this whole mountain into a circus. Porter would lose his freedom, his dignity, maybe his life." He looked at me hard. "That's why you can never tell anyone. Not ever. Not even after I'm gone. This secret dies with our family." I promised, And I meant it. Over the next 6 summers, I visited Uncle Ray every year. And every summer, I spent time with Porter. He was gentle, curious, sometimes playful. He'd watch me fish and seemed fascinated by the mechanics of the rod and reel. Once he tried to show me how he caught fish, just reached into the stream with impossible speed and grabbed one. He seemed proud when I laughed. He communicated, though not with words. He had different sounds for different things. A low rumble meant contentment. A sharp huff meant stay back or danger. A series of clicks and chirps seemed like actual language, though I never understood it. And he learned. Uncle Ray taught him simple signs, gestures for food, water, danger, friend. Porter picked them up frighteningly fast. The hardest part was knowing he was alone. Uncle Ray said Porter would sometimes make sounds at night, long, mournful calls that echoed through the forest, calling for others like him, never getting an answer. "He's the loneliest creature I've ever known," Uncle Ray told me once, "and the kindest. He's never once shown me aggression, never once threatened me. All he wants is to exist in peace. Is that really too much to ask?" I didn't have an answer. I graduated high school, went to college in Seattle. Life got busy. I visited Uncle Ray less frequently, maybe once a year, then once every 2 years. But I never forgot Porter, never stopped wondering how he was doing out there in those woods. Last year I got a call from Uncle Ray. His voice sounded tired, old. "Daniel, I need you to come out here. Soon. There's been developments." "What kind of developments?" "The kind we've been afraid of for 38 years. Just come soon. Please." I drove out the following weekend. Uncle Ray looked worse than I'd ever seen him. Thinner, grayer, like something was eating him from the inside. "They know," he said simply when I arrived. "I don't know how, but they know." "Who knows?" "The government. Fish and Wildlife at first. Then some other agency I'd never heard of. They've had surveillance on my property for the last 3 months. Cameras, drones. They know something's here." My blood went cold. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know. Porter's been restless. He knows something's wrong. I think he can sense them watching. He wants to run, but where? There's nowhere left for him to go. Every forest, every wilderness area, they're all monitored now. Satellites, trail cameras, hikers with smartphones. There's no place left to hide." Uncle Ray's hands were shaking. "I'm 83 years old, Daniel. I'm dying. Cancer. I've got maybe 6 months, the doctors say. And I need to know, when I'm gone, will you protect him? Will you keep him safe?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes, whatever it takes." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "Thank you." The feds came 2 weeks later. I was staying at the cabin, helping Uncle Ray with daily tasks he could no longer manage alone. It was late evening when we heard vehicles coming up the logging road, multiple vehicles. Uncle Ray looked at me. "Get to Porter, warn him, tell him to go deep into the forest and don't come back until I give the signal." I ran, got to the barn. Porter was already outside, agitated. He'd heard the engines too. I made the sign for danger, then pointed deep into the forest. Porter looked at me, then at the direction of the cabin, then back at me. He made a low, questioning sound, asking if Uncle Ray was okay. "Go," I whispered. "Please, we'll find you when it's safe." He hesitated. Then he did something he'd never done before. He reached out and touched my shoulder, gently. His hand was massive, could have crushed my collarbone without effort. But the touch was soft, careful, almost human. Then he turned and disappeared into the darkness, moving silently despite his size. I ran back to the cabin, found Uncle Ray standing on the porch, facing 3 black SUVs and about a dozen people in tactical gear and government suits. A woman stepped forward. Mid-40s, dark suit, federal agent written all over her. "Raymond Chen." "That's me. Agent Patricia Walsh, Department of the Interior, Special Wildlife Division. We have a warrant to search your property." She handed him papers. Uncle Ray didn't even look at them. "What exactly are you searching for?" Agent Walsh didn't blink. "I think you know, Mr. Chen. We have 3 decades of satellite imagery showing thermal signatures on this property that don't match any known wildlife. We have acoustic data, vocalizations that don't correspond to any catalogued species, And we have testimony from a former park ranger who claims to have seen an unidentified bipedal creature on your land in 1997. Uncle Ray's face was stone. I live alone. If there's wildlife on my property, that's because it's their home. I don't bother them. They don't bother me. Mr. Chen, if you're harboring an unknown species, particularly one of potential scientific significance, you're in violation of multiple federal statutes. We can help you. We just need to know what's out there. There's nothing out there but trees and bears. Agent Walsh sighed. We're going to search anyway. You can cooperate or not. Your choice. The search lasted 4 hours. They found the barn. Found evidence of Porter, his bedding area, food storage, the tools Uncle Ray had made for him, but Porter himself was gone. Agent Walsh approached us as her team was packing up. Mr. Chen, whatever's out there, it's not safe for it to remain hidden. Medical care, proper nutrition, socialization with its own kind, if any exist, we can provide that. Keeping it isolated isn't protection, it's cruelty. Uncle Ray's voice was cold. You want to put him in a cage, study him, turn him into a science project. That's not care, that's imprisonment. We want to understand. Understanding costs him everything. His freedom, his dignity, his life as he knows it. You think you're the good guys here? You're not. You're the threat. Agent Walsh looked at him for a long moment. We'll be back, Mr. Chen, with more warrants, more equipment, and we will find what you're hiding. They left. Uncle Ray collapsed into his chair, shaking. What do we do now? I asked. Now? Now we hope Porter stays gone, and we figure out how to keep him safe when I'm not here anymore. Uncle Ray passed away 3 months later, December 2023. Cancer finally won. At his funeral, only family came, about 20 people. In his will, he left the property to me. All 200 acres, the cabin, everything, including the responsibility. I moved into the cabin full-time last month, quit my job in Seattle. Sold everything I couldn't fit in my truck because Porter came back. The first night I was alone there, I heard the 3-note whistle, his whistle, coming from the edge of the forest. I went out, found him standing at the tree line. He looked older, grayer around the face, sadder somehow. I made the sign for friend, then for safe. He approached slowly, looked at the cabin, made a low questioning sound. I understood. He was asking about Uncle Ray. He's gone, I whispered. I'm sorry, he's gone. Porter made a sound I'd never heard before, a keening, mournful, heartbroken. He understood loss. He understood death. He was grieving. We sat together on the porch that night, a man and a creature everyone says doesn't exist, both of us mourning the person who had protected one and loved the other. After a while, Porter stood, looked at me, made a sound that felt like a question. I understood what he was asking. Would I keep the promise? Would I protect him like Uncle Ray had? Yes, I said, for as long as I can. You're safe here. He nodded, actually nodded. Then he disappeared into the forest. The federal agents came back 2 weeks ago. More warrants, more equipment. They set up monitoring stations around the property. Trail cameras everywhere. They haven't found him. Porter knows this forest better than any human ever could. He knows where the cameras are, how to avoid them, how to exist in the spaces they can't see. But it's only a matter of time. Last night, I was sitting on the porch when Porter emerged from the trees. He approached closer than he ever had before. Close enough that I could see the intelligence in his eyes, the awareness, the understanding of what's happening. He made a series of sounds, then he did something that broke my heart. He made the sign for goodbye. I stood up. No, you don't have to go. We'll figure this out. He shook his head. Another gesture Uncle Ray had taught him. He reached into the pouch he sometimes wore, woven from grass and bark, and pulled something out, set it on the porch railing. It was a wooden carving, crude but recognizable. 3 figures, Uncle Ray, me, and him, a family portrait. Then Porter turned and walked back into the forest. Didn't look back. I haven't seen him since. I don't know if Porter is still out there. I don't know if he found others like him or if he's truly alone in the world. But I keep the cabin maintained. I leave food in the barn every week. And sometimes, late at night, I hear that three-note whistle echoing through the trees. I never answer, because if the feds are listening, I can't risk leading them to him. Uncle Ray protected Porter for 38 years, gave him safety, gave him friendship, gave him a life. Now it's my turn. And I'll keep his secret until the day I die, just like I promised, because some beings deserve to remain free, to exist on their own terms, to be left alone in peace, even if the world will never believe they existed at all. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. I know this sounds impossible, but I was there. I saw him. I knew him. If this story made you think about what it means to protect those who can't protect themselves, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I read every single comment. If you want more true Bigfoot encounter stories that go beyond the surface, subscribe to Silent Bigfoot Stories and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next story. We upload new encounters every week, and if you're ever in the deep woods and you hear a three-note whistle, maybe it's just the wind, or maybe it's Porter, still out there, still surviving. Either way, I hope he's finally found peace. Until next time.